So for our slow flow today, we're going to begin in a nice comfortable seated position. So you can either just take the legs a little bit wider than normal, stacking one heel in front of the other with a really firm point to the toes, or you can bring the legs in a little bit, just bringing the feet underneath the knees, pressing really firmly into the knife edge of the feet. So just taking whichever comfortable variation you would like. And then from here, we're going to ground down through our sit bones. We're going to lengthen up through the torso, taking the shoulder blades together on the back and down towards the hips, opening up across the chest. And we lengthen up through the crown of the head. And then from here, we close down the eyes. We begin to turn our focus inward, just arriving into the space and onto our mats. Just taking this time to begin to find a little bit of stillness, letting everything else go, anything that came before this practice, anything that you're anticipating to come after. Just simply put that to the side for the remainder of this video and just allow yourself this space to be truly present within the body, within the mind, and within the breath. Taking everything as it comes and being open to the experience of moving with the body, moving with the breath. So you might like to take a full body scan here, beginning at the crown of the head, making your way down towards the tips of the toes. And we're just scanning the body, noticing for any areas that may be gripping or holding, and also noticing the areas that feel quite nice for you today. You feel quite open, feel quite strong. And we won't be here too long at the start of our practice, as we want to get into that nice yummy slow flow movement that we have. But I just want us to take a little bit of time now to connect to our breath. So for the next few breaths, there's no need to manipulate or change the breath. We're just going to begin to notice the natural rhythm. How is the breath right now? How do the inhales feel flowing into the body? And what is the quality of our exhales like? Are we exhaling quite fast, shooting the breath out of us? Or is there any space to slow the exhale down? So just taking a couple breaths, just simply noticing, beginning to take on the role of the observer. And now we're just going to begin to start to take in more breath than is our habit. So we're going to really fill up on our inhales. We're going to take a slight heartbeat hold at the top of the breath, and then we're going to really slowly exhale out. Inhale, filling up the whole body with air. Taking that slight pause, letting that inhale fill up the body. And then we slowly exhale out. Keep breathing like that. Using our inhales to bring in energy to the body. And using our exhales to soften and soothe the body, calming our nervous system. And what I really want you to be mindful of during our practice together today is I really want you to focus on the breath. I want you to make the breath the soundtrack to your practice today. And every time we move through a flow, we move through a little sequence, I want you to always come back to that thought of moving with the breath, letting the breath guide the movements. If you would like, you can almost think of this practice as a moving meditation. It's becoming engrossed by the sound of your own breath today. Becoming fascinated by how the breath can move the body. We're going to be here for 5 more full big breaths, settling in. 3 more big breaths here. Keep lengthening up through the crown of the head. Taking the shoulder blades together on the back, down towards our hips. 2 more breaths. And now for this last breath, I want you to take the biggest breath in you've taken all day. And the slowest exhale. Really emptying out the body on our exhales. And now from here, we're going to gently flutter our eyelids open, keeping a nice soft gaze. And our next inhale, we're going to rise the arms up overhead. Palms meet together overhead, and then we exhale, bring it down through heart center, elbows wide. Just one more like that. Inhaling up, bringing length into the sides of the waist. Exhale, pull it through center. Now this next time when we inhale, we are going to rise the arms up. But then on our exhale, we're going to take our left hand over towards our right knee. Our right hand is going to come behind us. And we inhale, lengthen. Exhale, root navel to spine. Twist yourself round. So we're opening up across the chest. Giving a nice little massage to our abdominal organs here. And stay for one more big breath. Okay, next time you inhale, the arms rise up overhead. We return to center, and then our exhales take our right hand to our left knee, our left hand behind us. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist shoulders away from the ears. And something to be really mindful of here is to avoid using the hands to pull ourselves around. Rather, we want to engage those core muscles and really focus the twist in the thoracic spine. So we're keeping the lumbar spine, our lower back, quite stable. We're just twisting from that upper portion. Take one more breath. Okay, now we're going to flow through this. So we're going to inhale, rise ourselves to center. We're going to exhale, twist round to the right and let the hands hover. Inhale, the arms rise up. Exhale, we'll twist over to the left, letting the arms hover. Keep moving like that, using the whole inhale to rise ourselves back to center. And the whole exhale takes us over to that right side. Go for a couple more on each side, inhaling up. Exhaling to twist, root navel to spine. Go for one more on each side, inhale up. Exhale, twist. When you twist, remember to keep your head over your heart, over your hips. Let's just go for one more on each side now. Beautiful. Rise yourself up, return to center. Exhale, hands overhead. Exhale, heart center. Now from here, you might like to reverse the feet so we keep that nice little balance. So just switch whatever foot you have in front of the other. And then with that right hand, we're going to take the right hand up overhead. We're then going to bring that right palm in between the shoulder blades. And then we're going to take that right hand and just grab onto the right elbow. Extending the elbows towards the back of the room. Pressing our head into our arms. Lengthening up. Softening the lower ribs down. And we'll be here for 2 big breaths. Just stretching out the right side of the body. So really important to just do some gentle warming up of the body before we go into our flows today. You can let the hands go now. Taking that left arm up, bending at the elbow, bringing that left hand in between the shoulder blades, and then grabbing on to that left elbow with the right hand. Pressing the back of the head into the arms, extending the elbows towards the back of the room. And now we just lengthen through the left side of the body. 2 more breaths. Always coming back to that idea of letting the soundtrack to your practice be your breath. Let the hands go. Now we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. And then with the interlace, we kind of created a fist behind our back. And we're just going to take that fist over to the right side of the body. We take that right elbow towards the back of the room. And we open up through the front of that right shoulder. Really important to warm up the shoulders. It's quite a shallow socket, our shoulder socket joint. So it's just lots of ligaments and muscles and tendons holding it in there. So it's really important to warm those up before we start getting into the shoulders. Now take that interlace over towards the left side of the body and take that left elbow towards the back of the room. Keep lengthening up, keep grounding down through the sit bones. Give me 2 more full big breaths here. Beautiful, 1 more. Okay, now we're going to come into tabletop. So for our tabletop, we're going to bring the hands and we're going to place them underneath the shoulders, spreading the fingertips as wide as we can. Placing the weight and placing it into the middle finger, index finger and our thumb. We kind of want to have it through all 4 corners of our palms, but that's a really important place to just place the majority of the weight so we take some of the pressure out of the wrist. The creases of the elbows or the eyes of the elbows face in towards one another. We broaden across the upper back so we're pushing up and out of the palms. And then with the head, just retract that away from the floor, creating as much space between your face and the mat as possible. Knees underneath the hips and press really firmly into the tops of the feet. We're going to move through now some really nice fluid cat-cows. So again, match movement to breath and go at your own pace. We inhale, tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. We bring our chest through, our gaze through. And then we exhale, tuck the tailbone around the spine, gaze back towards the thighs. So our first little movement here. Inhale, tailbone tilts up. Chest comes through, gaze comes through, keep pushing the floor away. Exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine, gaze back towards the thighs. You might like to close the eyes here, beginning the movement with the tailbone and ending with the head. So when we round our spine, we're pulling our shoulder blades apart, stretching across the upper back. And then when we inhale, we're opening up the chest. Keep pulling the shoulders away from the ears, root navel to spine. Exhale, round. Go for a few more rounds of that. Just beginning to imagine the element of water here. So a nice thought to keep returning back to when we go through our flows today is moving the body like a wave. Harnessing that water element that's inside of us. And finding that fluidity of the body. So we're just gently warming up the spine here. Controlling the flow, moving 1 vertebrae at a time. Go for 2 more really slow, juicy rounds of cat-cow. Beautiful. Return to tabletop. And then from here, tuck the big toes underneath. We're going to lift the knees off the mat, send the sit bones up to the sky, just so we can then walk the hands towards the feet, towards the hands. Coming to the top of the mat with the feet hips width distance apart, going into a forward fold. So bend the knees really generously here, so you can get the lower ribs and the belly to the thighs. Grabbing onto opposite elbows, and we just gently sway from side to side. So not too much sort of static postures for us today. Every time we come into a posture that may feel like you could just sort of hang there, just play with some movement. Seeing if you can find something new in your forward fold. Just exploring here. You can take some small bounces up and down if you like. You can shake your head yes. Shake your head no.
Another nice thing to do is you can play with the weight. Take the weight towards the tips of the toes, back towards the heels. One more big breath here. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Next time we inhale, bring palms to shins, lengthen up halfway, flat back. Crown of the head towards the front of the room, tailbone to the back, shoulders away from the ears, and keep that nice long spine. Again, next time we exhale, roll yourself down, forward fold. Inhale, roll yourself, halfway lift. Exhale, down we go. That water-like flowy movement. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, down. Now inhale, halfway lift. Exhale here. We're going to take that left hand over towards our right ankle now. We're going to inhale, sweep that right arm up towards the sky. So coming into a halfway lifted twist here. So really important to keep that length in the spine. Keep shooting that right hand up towards the sky. Seeing if you can almost stack the shoulders one on top of the other. So bringing that left shoulder a little bit further underneath the body. You can gaze up to that top hand if it feels right for your neck. And one more breath here. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, that right hand comes down, it goes over to the left ankle, and we inhale, sweep the left arm up towards the sky, halfway lifted twist on the second side. One more big breath, inhale it in, exhale it out. Then we stay for our inhale. Exhale, we sweep down, left hand, to the right ankle. Inhale, open up to the right. Exhale, come down. Inhale, open up to the left. Exhale, down. Inhale, open up to the right. Exhale, down. Go for a couple more on each side. Match your movement to your breath. The inhale takes us up, and the exhale brings us back down. Keep that length of the spine. Keep rooting navel to spine. One more on each side. Inhale, open up. Exhale, return back to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time when we exhale, we're going to plant the palms down, shoulder width distance apart, and then we're going to step back to our first downward facing dog. So we send the sit bones up and back, we push up and out of the palms, activating through the arms, externally rotating the shoulder blades, so taking them apart on the back. Our ears go in between our biceps. We take a nice bend to the knees, lifting the heels off the mat for this first one. Being more mindful about having the upper body in its correct alignment rather than driving the heels down towards the floor. You might like to bend one knee and then the other. As always in our static postures today, finding a bit of movement. The next time we inhale, we're going to flow forward to our high plank. Really slow, steady movement forward. Shoulders stay over the wrists. We push energy out through the heels. Retract the head, tuck the tailbone underneath a little bit so we're not spiking the bum up. And again, root navel to spine. Keep that core active. Next time we exhale, without moving the hands, without moving the feet from where they are, we're going to send the sit bones up and back. Inhale, flow forward, high plank. Exhale, up and back. Inhale, roll yourself forward. Excuse me. Exhale, up and back. Last one like this, roll forward. Exhale, up and back. And now this time when we come forward, we're going to roll ourselves forward on an inhale. But then on our exhale, we're going to drop the knees down to the mat, keep the big toes tucked underneath, and send the sit bones back towards the heels. We keep the arms lifted, so we keep active through the arms. Keep clawing into the finger pads, so you can pull the chest through a little bit more, creating more length in the sides of the waist and gently stretching through our spine. Our inhale flows us forward. We have our shoulders over our wrists. And then our exhale, we lift the knees, send the sit bones up and back. Downward facing dog. This is our flow now. Inhale, flow forward. Exhale, slowly lower the knees. Send the sit bones back. Child's pose. Keep the big toes tucked under. Inhale, flow forward. Exhale, up and back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower, push back. Again, match movement to your breath. Inhale flows us up. Exhale sends us up and back. Close your eyes and move through that a few times. Feeling every little movement out in the body. Becoming more fascinated with the journey than the destination. Go for 2 more rounds. Last one, flowing forward. Exhaling up and back. Oh, let's just do one more for good luck. Inhale forward. Exhale, push back. Inhale, come up. Exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Now from here, just gaze to the wrists and slowly walk the feet up towards the hands. Coming into that really nice forward fold here. Opening up the whole back of the body. And then we inhale, root to rise. Just slowly coming up to stand. Arms up overhead. Exhale, heart center. Beautiful. Now we come to mountain pose Tadasana at the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance apart. We ground down into all 4 corners of our feet. Activating through the legs. Lift the kneecaps. Activate the quadriceps. Tailbone tucks underneath. We have that nice straight line from crown all the way down to the toes. Shoulder blades together on the back. Down towards the hips. Opening up the palms to the front of the room. Active fingertips lengthen up through the crown. Again, another nice place to find a little bit of movement. You can just rock around on the feet so you can really feel that central balance point in the feet. So you can take the weight to one side, then to the other. Take it towards the tips of the toes, back towards the heels. See? Balance point. Alright, now take one more breath here in mountain. Inhale, rise the arms up overhead, opening up the front of the body, gaze to the palms. Exhale to hinge at the hips, swan dive down to our forward fold. Sit bones up towards the sky. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring the hands down and step back with that right foot. So we're coming into our high lunge position. Front knee stays stacked over the front ankle. The heel of that back foot goes over the ball of the back foot. Active through the legs, so keep engaged in that back leg. Pull everything into the midline. And with the hips, just take the left hip towards the back, right hip towards the front, so we neutralize our pelvis. And when you have that balance, we inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Take a slight bend to that back knee. Push out through that back heel.
Arms up, palms face in towards one another. You can find a drishti here, find a focal point somewhere to train the balance. And then when we inhale, we open up the front of the body, lifting up out of the sternum, taking the gaze up, arms behind. And then we exhale, come forward, lay the torso over that front leg. Inhale, slowly opening up, lifting up out of the sternum, gaze up, hands back. Exhale, slowly flow yourself forward. Keep moving like that a few times. Inhale to slowly open up into our back bend. Exhale to lay the torso over. Inhale, open. Exhale, forward. So when we inhale and open, I really want you to think about lifting up even out of the hip creases. So we're not crunching in our lower back. We're lifting up to then bend back. Inhale, go for a few more. Articulate, slow movements here. Go for one more round. That's it, beautiful. Return to that starting position that we came into. Stacking head, heart over the hips. And then from here, just really slowly lower that back knee down towards the floor. Keep hovering, keep hovering. Beautiful, set that knee down. Now with the hands, place them to either side. Either side, placing them underneath the shoulders, excuse me. Then take the sit bones towards the back of the room. Straightening that front leg, flexing the left toes back towards your face. And using the fingertips to pull the chest through. Shoulder blades together on the back, down towards the hips. And we're lengthening through our spine. So we're not rounding here. We're keeping that nice neutral curvature of our spine as we lengthen up. Inhale, place that left sole of the foot down towards the floor. Place the right hand underneath the right shoulder. Inhale, open up that left arm up towards the sky. Here you can either lift that back knee up if you want a bit more of an active variation. You can just lower the knee down. Inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot. Straighten that front leg. Runner's lunge, flex the feet. Inhale that left sole of the foot to the floor. Right hand under the right shoulder. Open up to the twist. Inhale here. Exhale, frame the front foot with the hands. Exhale, send the sit bones back. Runner's lunge. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, open. Inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot. Straighten the front leg. Now inhale, come down. Exhale, open. And now take a bend at that back knee. So you're lifting that back right foot up towards the glutes. And then with that left hand, sweep it back behind you. Grabbing onto that back right foot. Opening up the chest, taking the gaze towards the back of the mat. If you want to increase the stretch in the front of that right thigh, you can take the glutes back to meet the heel. Keep that connection and keep pulling it back down, returning into that lunge posture. One more breath here. Inhale, sweep the arm forward. Keep that left hand out in front of you. Lift the back knee off the mat now. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, sweep that left hand back behind. Come onto the outside edges of both feet. Keep the legs engaged. Gaze back to that hand. Inhale, sweep yourself to the front. Exhale, open up to the side. You can take that left knee wide. Keep that back leg lifted off.
Inhale, come to the front. Exhale, sweep to the back. Last one. Inhale to the front. Exhale, back. Inhale, bring the hands forward. Exhale, frame that front foot. Press into the palms. Step back, downward facing dog. Going into that flow that we did at the start. Inhale, flow forward, high plank. Exhale, lower the knees. Push back, child's pose. Inhale, flow forward. Exhale, up and back. Inhale, bend the knees. Come onto the tips of the toes. Gaze to the wrists. Exhale, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, step back with the left leg, setting ourselves up for a high lunge on the second side now. Front knee over front ankle, strong engaged back leg. Our right hip goes back now as our left hip comes towards the front and we pull everything into the midline. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Slight bend to that back knee. Push out through the heel. Arms up and active, palms face in towards one another. Now from here, inhale, open up, back bend. Exhale, forward. Inhale, open up. Exhale, forward. Laying the torso over that front leg. Inhale. So we're really nice, strong, steady and balanced in the legs. And we're open and fluid in our torso. A few more. And if at any point you want to lower that back knee down and keep going with this movement in the upper body, please feel free. Last one. Inhale, return to that central position. Slowly lower down that back knee as slow as you can go. Might feel a little bit intense, but you got it. Keep lowering it down. Let it hover. Beautiful. Set it down. Bring the hands under the shoulders. Straighten that front leg. Flex the right toes. So bringing the right toes back towards the right knee. Runner's lunge. Using the fingers to pull the shoulders away from the ears and bringing the chest through. Our inhales create length in the back. And our exhales, we can hinge at the hips a little bit. Just see if we can bring that torso a little bit further down to the leg. Inhale, place that right sole of the foot down towards the floor. Left hand under the left shoulder. Exhale, open up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, frame that front foot. Straighten the front leg. You can bring the hands back under the shoulders, returning to our runner's lunge. Right sole of the foot back towards the floor. Left hand under the left shoulder. Exhale, open up. Inhale. Exhale, bring that hand down. Straighten the front leg. Flex the toes. Right sole of the foot down towards the floor. Left hand under the left shoulder. Exhale, open. Stay for our inhale. Exhale, brings that hand down. Just straighten the front leg. Sit bones back. Last one like this. Inhale, forward. Left hand under left shoulder. Exhale, open. Inhale. Exhale, that hand comes down. We return to our runner's lunge. Inhale, forward. Exhale, we open up. And then we take a bend to that back knee, bringing the left sole of the foot back to the left glute now.
Sweeping that right hand back behind so we can grab onto the left foot. And then if you want to increase the stretch, take the sit bones to meet the heel, keep that connection as you then return back into our lunge. Gaze back towards the back of the mat, opening up the chest. Pressing out of the palms, so not dumping our weight in here, still keeping that activation in the arms. One more big breath. You can release the grip on that back foot. Take that right hand to the front, tuck the back toes under, lift the knee, and we come in to that little active side flow that we did on the first side. So inhale here, exhale, sweep that right arm to the back, come onto the outside edges of both feet. Inhale, sweep to the front. Exhale, open to the side. Beautiful. Inhale, right arm sweeps to the front. Exhale, outside edges of both feet. Roll yourself to the back. Last one. Beautiful. That inhale, sweep to the front. Exhale, frame the front foot. Press into the palms. Step back, downward facing dog. Going into that nice little down dog flow that we've been doing. Inhale, roll yourself forward, high plank. Exhale, lower the knees. Send the sit bones back. Extend the arms out in front. Inhale, flow forward. Exhale, up and back. Now bring the feet together. And we're going to inhale, send that right leg up towards the sky, coming into our three-legged dog, flexing through the toes. Really rooting into that left foot. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, bring that left knee through, right knee through, place it to the outside of the right wrist, setting ourselves up for our pigeon pose. So we want to give a really strong point to both feet. You can untuck those back toes. And just gaze back to that back leg and make sure it's tracking directly out from our hip socket and you're pressing really firmly into the top of that back foot. You can come onto tented fingers. So we're starting off in a bit more of an active variation in our pigeon. Neutralizing the pelvis, left hip to the front, right hip to the back. You can stay up here. And then whenever you're ready to come down into the more passive variation, you can either come down onto the forearms. If you have blocks, this is a nice place to use some blocks, bringing the floor up to meet you. Or if there is a little bit more space in the body, you can place one hand on top of the other, take the elbows wide, and melt your forehead down. Coming into our pigeon posture. Keep pointing through the toes. Be very mindful of the hips here, so we're not just sinking into that right hip. You're keeping a nice active, you're keeping nice and active in the legs still. So this is one of our cool down postures. You want to keep the muscles active to help to protect our joints here. We can take 3 more big full breaths here. Feel a nice stretch along the right glute, our right IT band, our piriformis muscle, all of those muscles that can get quite tight in our hips and in our glutes. We need one more breath. And we bring the hands under the shoulders. So we inhale, rise up, leading with the back of the head. Tucking the toes under, lifting that knee, and sending the right leg up towards the sky. Now exhale to place it back next to the left. Taking one breath here. And then inhale, send that left leg up to the sky. 3-legged dog on the second side. Flex through the left toes. Ground down into the right foot.
Exhale, draw that left knee through, place it to the outside of the left wrist, pointing through the toes, releasing that back knee down, untucking the toes. Take that gaze back to that right leg and see what's happening there, making sure the ankle isn't sickling from one side to the other. And then we bring our left hip to the back, right hip towards the front. Coming onto tented fingers, lifting up. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Staying here for as long as you like, letting this kind of frame settle into our hips before we fold all the way down. And then whenever you're ready, you can either come down onto the forearms, creating that pillow for the face, taking the elbows wide. Just settling in for a few breaths here. You can close down the eyes, turning our focus back in towards the body and the breath. And just starting to check back in. Noticing what's happened to our breath. Noticing where the energy may be flowing through our body. 2 more big breaths here. One more. You can slowly begin to bring the hands back under the shoulders as we rise up, leading with the back of the head, tucking the back toes under, lifting the knee, sending the left leg up towards the sky. Place it down. And then from here, slowly lower the knees down, but we're going to take them to mat's width distance apart. We're going to bring the big toes to touch. We're going to send our sit bones back to our heels, coming into child's pose. You can have this as more of a passive variation now, so you can just let the arms drop, melting the forehead, melting the chest down towards the mat. Keep lengthening through the spine. And we wrap the triceps in and under to broaden across the upper back, and feeling that nice plugging back in of the shoulders into the socket. Now, child's pose is a really nice place to listen to the breath. We've kind of created a little bit of an echo chamber with the arms on either side of the face, with the head down towards the floor. Take a few breaths here without the sound of my voice, just really listening intently in towards the breath. Now from here you can inhale, rise up, leading with the back of the head. Returning the hands under the shoulders, pressing into the tops of the feet to lift the knees back underneath. And then from here you can cross the ankles over, take the sit bones back behind the ankles, shoot the legs out, and then we just come onto our backs. Coming onto our backs. Drawing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall out open wide. Bringing both hands to the belly. Feeling that gentle rise and fall of the breath underneath the hands. You can begin to let go of the need to control the breath. Letting it return to its natural rhythm. And seeing what's happening to the quality of the breath. Is the natural rhythm of our breath slightly deeper? Are your inhales fuller without you having to try? And have you slowed your exhales right down? Just noticing.
You can take that full body scan that we did at the start of our practice. This time, just checking back into those areas that kind of stood out for you at the start. Seeing if there's any subtle changes there. Being aware of any subtle differences that may have occurred in the mind, in the body, in our breath. Now, if there's any other postures you feel called to take, you can take those now. Maybe you might like to take a twist or a happy baby. Or you can journey into your Shavasana. If this reclined bound angle pose feels like a nice place to rest, then stay here. And this is where I'll leave you. You can end your practice however feels best for you, either taking a few more breaths lying here, like I said, playing with that movement. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time it is. I'll see you again soon. Namaste.